Can you hear it? Okay, thank you. When I come to speak before you all, I always try to tell you something you don't know so that I'm not repeating anything, and I do a lot of independent research. So I appreciate the fact that you've stuck around here because I think I'll be able to teach you something you don't know. First, I want to go to, Roy Whaley said, we talked about the camel, that's the straw that's breaking the camel's back. Well, we see it in this budget forecast. We see it with AISD. There's a woman on East Austin, her taxes in the past 10 years have gone up 450%. These are all the entities that we know are planning a tax hike. Even the drainage fees, they're up and coming. Homeowners are still getting whacked with the 10% appraisal cap rise. I know I am, maybe you are. Here's a list of all the entities that are not planning a tax hike, unless you can, fill one in, a rate hike. So I lifted this slide off of Brian Kelsey's website. You may remember Brian Kelsey as the former director of the economic development for Capital Area Council of Governments. What this shows is that Austin's median wage has declined since 1999 in relation to other U.S. cities, which is the red line. So we are dropping in our rankings for wages. This is another quote from his website. This is our average wage and salary growth in Austin shrank in real terms from 2001 to 2008. Those are our boom years. And he says, quoted, we rank 360th out of 367 metro areas in the United States, right behind the thriving economy of Detroit. So what we have is rising costs and expenses and declining wage and earnings. So we have a squeeze going on the middle class. And some say that we're the middle class and the poor, well, they're going off a cliff here. So here comes the residential rate hikes, as if those people could take more hit. And this is the straw. With some of them, it's the collapse of the middle class that most of these entities are a part of. So this water utility budget, $1.27 billion over the next 5 years, the majority of that money is to serve newcomers. Okay? Now, my water faucet works just fine. Why do I need a new billion-dollar water treatment plant with interest? It's because it's to serve the newcomers. Well, you know what? I'm not interested in paying for the newcomers. Let them pay for it themselves. And there's a way to do that. But first, I want to go to a crime scene. Here's the crime scene. It's South I-35 water and wastewater. I commissioned a report to determine what is the full amount of that cost, because I know you guys are every Thursday you're having to, well, I say every Thursday, you're authorizing more and more money to be spent on this program. That program is 15,740 acres is in the program area at a 2.89 LUE per acre. Those are the water utilities figures. That's equivalent of 45,000 new single-family dwellings out southeast. Okay? The total cost, $101 million spent so far with another 77. That's $180 million for trunk lines and backbone to go out that direction. If you add the cost of the water treatment plant and the wastewater that'll be assigned to those 45,000 homes, you have about $519 million required to serve that. And if you divide that by the number of homes, 519 million divided by 45,000, it's about $11,000 per water and wastewater connection. Okay, so that would be the total cost to serve a new home. Well, what does Austin charge in our water and wastewater impact fee? Well, here's the schedule. Yeah, in the drinking water protection zone, maybe we're up to $2,500, but it's down to $700 in the cure. And same for wastewater, $1,400 down to $400. But, okay, here's a chart of all the municipalities and water providers in the region. Now, it looks like it's alphabetical order, but it's not. It's Austin, Brushy Creek, Cedar Park. Sounds alphabetical, but the fact is Austin charges far less than its peers by enormous amounts of money. Now, why are we cheaper than Hutto? Why are we giving it away cheaper than Round Rock? Obviously, this is easier to look at. Austin are the far left 6 figures. The 2 red ones are the drinking water protection zone. So we're charging less for our most critical areas than Hutto is. Hutto's up at over $5,500. But that doesn't give us a complete picture because not that many people we don't sell that many drinking water protection zone in the ETJ. All right, so what I did was I calculated we sold 34,000 fee units since March of '04. This is the weighted average. All right, so we've sold most of them in the DDZ. Well, the weighted average of what we sell a water tap fee for in Austin is $1,241 and wastewater $724. So when you look at how do we rank with our peer cities, well, we're selling them for $2,000 and Round Rock is selling it for $6,800. We're giving it away. We're a cheap date. Now, I talked to the woman at LCRA. Her name was Janet Stevenson. I said, LCRA, you guys charge $5,900 for a water tap, or $5,250. She said, yeah, we're not in competition. We're charging what it costs. Our ratepayers don't want to pay for the next person. We're charging the state maximum allowable. And so here's how they do it. There's two different ways you can calculate it. Their water their water cost was $7,300.87. If you do the 50% credit method, that means they could have charged $36.94. But if you do the credit for the ratepayer, and I know I've heard some of you say, hey, you know, it's all paid back by the ratepayer. Well, it's not, okay? A small portion is. In this case, $2,100 was. So LCRA picked the higher of the two figure. They charged $5,200. We charge an average of $1,200. All right, so here it is for wastewater, the same thing. So we could charge this. In our impact fee, we could charge $3,307 and wastewater $1,852. All right, so if you look at it, we're charging an average of $1,241 and $724. You could pass an ordinance, I think, after you talk to city legal, right now, not tonight, to boost our collections so that we get at least up to where our peer cities are. So now, at least we're with Pflugerville and Georgetown. It's more expensive to locate in Hutto and Round Rock, but this makes sense. And this is good political coverage for you because people, you're raising the rates for water, but we're not getting anything back. We're not getting the capital recovery fees that we could. And this is one way to do it. In fact, Councilmember Morrison in the 28th of April asked Mr. Mazzaros, I guess you are saying that we are recovering as much as perhaps we're allowed under state law. Mazzaros said, yes, that is a fair statement. Well, I don't know what he's talking about. We're recovering a fraction of what we're allowed to under the 2007 ordinance of our impact fees. So pass an ordinance to bring the impact fees closer to actual cost and in line with our peer cities. This is what we should be doing and collecting, especially on this out in the area of Pilot Knob, where we've got a $180 million line running that we're ahead of the market on, as we've got that much infrastructure sitting in there waiting. Will the market save us out there? I don't know. Do you bring the water first and the development comes next? No, it doesn't. Okay, so here it is again. Put us in the peer group. So people say, well, Brian, now's not the right time in this down economy. That's what the developers are saying. I've heard them say it. Well, yeah, it's not the right time for you. Well, what about the rest of us that you're burdening us with those costs for? And now it will hurt affordable housing. Affordable housing gets fee waivers. Well, the homeowner already pays their way through rates collected on water usage or taxes paid. That's not true. They only pay a small fraction. State law specifically requires that you give that credit so as not to double tax. So Austin is selling far below cost and far below peer cities. The current system is a wealth transfer from existing residents to land speculators, lot developers, home builders, and newcomers. We are not interested in subsidizing the newcomers. Let them pay their own way. The water